And at the RSC, we put forward a budget that actually gets to balance in 5 years. So you got to cut spending. That won't do it alone. You have to create a framework conducive to economic growth. And that's why the tax and regulatory and energy policy is so important. But you got to cut spending. You're just going to have to suck it up and do the disciplined thing.
It's fair to say what you're going to do, what you really want to do, is go well beyond Ryan. Start reducing the debt. And that Ryan is looked at objectively as kind of a joke.
It's certainly a much better plan than anything anyone else on the other side's put forward. The president or the Senate has yet to put one forward. We think you should probably get more aggressive. That's why we offered the budget we did. But we certainly support Paul's, because Paul's, I think, with the policy ideas in there, lays out a framework that's conducive to growth on the regulatory side, on the tax policy side, frankly on the energy policy side as well. And then it does slow the growth in spending, which has to happen. Now, it may have to happen quicker because all the experts I talk to say we got 2 to 3 years maximum to fix this thing, or we are going to have a full-scale debt crisis.
Do you support that? Do you support a civilian DoD retrenchment, essentially?
I support looking at all of defense and figuring out where we can actually achieve the savings and then do it. For example, we're going to have this question front and center in just 2 months. The only thing worse than just arbitrarily cutting defense is not cutting anything at all. So if there is a move to suspend the sequester, I think that is wrong. I just flat run, because think about this, you got to put it in context.
You mean a flat out just suspension?
Yeah, the Democrats get their social spending, Republicans would be able to not have to cut defense, and okay, we'll deal with it next year. Well, that game has been played around this town forever.
So you'll vote against a suspension?
I think it is completely wrong to do that, because remember, last August, the Budget Control Act was passed. I always go through it because I was, you know me, I was fighting this and against it. I thought it was a bad deal, and I think, frankly, history has proven that it was. The next day, the market dropped 560 some points. 2 days later, we got downgraded. A week later, the market had dropped 1,300 points. The super committee that was supposed to put in place cuts fell apart, and now the only scheduled cuts in that thing are going to be potentially suspended. So, but the point is, the only thing the taxpayer will have gotten out of that if we suspend the sequester, $2.4 trillion more in debt.
So you're now saying that the sequester, that the worst thing is to suspend the sequesters, and everybody who actually voted for the sequesters is saying we need to suspend the sequesters. Why?
Yeah, the irony is just that. Let me say this about Governor Romney. I've only had the chance to talk to him one time. It was at CPAC, well, 9 months ago, January, February, whenever CPAC was. February, 8 months ago. So, and had a chance to sit down with him for about 20 minutes, he and I and one staff person. And I came away thinking, because I went right to the spending issue and said, Governor, this is as serious as it gets. He got it. He really did. And you could tell the genuine concern he has for the country. And what I told him is, again, just my background in sports, I said, you know what I like about you is the disciplined approach you've taken. You've been running for president for 5 years. This is back in the primary when I said, it's no accident you're in the lead. You've been working harder than anybody else, and I admire your work ethic. And one thing that you can say about this guy is he's been locked on and gone. And so, I think if he wins, I think he's going to do a good job. And I think he can still win. I really do. I think he will.